They didn't save the day with this one. What's up YouTube? It's D Gizzle the Beatmaker, and today I'm here with my promised video that I said I would do back in my first cook-up video. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check that out. But in that video, I used an 808 that I had made right here. It's called Geesh, and this is what it sounds like. So today I'm going to show you guys how I specifically do my 808s. So first things first, I like in the cook-up video, I use citrus. The first thing is, when you're making an 808, you want to turn the pitch right here. You want to turn the knob all the way down. Then you want to go to op.1. You want to take the volume and move this dot all the way up. Delete these two, the one in the middle and the one on the outside. Then you want to take this one and drag it all the way down, because the 808 is going to have a slope of losing volume. That's why it's not a constant sound. And then you need to turn on this envelope. So you turn on the envelope by pressing this little square right here, and when it's has the dot and you see the little fade right there, you know that it's on. Now also in op.1, you need to go over here. This is also a pitch. You want to turn it all the way down to 0 right here, but I turn this to 5. I just turn this down to 0.5, so it sounds something like this right now. Right, and that also here in the volume, you get to control how long the 808 lasts. So you know, some 808s might be shorter than others, and I don't necessarily want a short 808 right now, so I'm gonna extend this out a little bit. So now the only other knob we need to the only other envelope we need to mess with is the pitch envelope. Now we're gonna do the same thing we did with the volume envelope, raising this one, deleting this dot, and then we're gonna bring this one in all the way because we don't need it out here. And with this one, you don't want to bring it down below this center line, because it just takes it way too low and you can't hear it. So when you have the pitch on like this, it will sound. I try to get mine as close as possible, and just it immediately slopes down. And you don't want it like that, because that's just a straight pitch drop. You want to have a little bit of a slight curve to it. The last thing we need to do, we need to go to filter 1, and to activate filter 1, you want to turn this off. You want to turn so we use op.1, right? So we're gonna turn op.1 on all the way. Then you want it to come out through your headphones. So this is the in and this is out. With this one, we're not gonna mess with any envelopes. All we're doing here is selecting our pass, which we want a low pass, and I use the vanilla low pass. Here you get to choose. You have it on the low pass, so that's effectively like EQing out all of the highs. So it will sound like this. You can change how harshly it will cut out the highs. So let me bring up an EQ real quick. So if we were to take this in terms of an EQ, because that's basically what we're doing. We're filtering out and EQing our 808, but it's going through citrus. So what our low pass did is it went all the way to here. It cut out all the highs and all the mids. Now, the more that we go back to the citrus, and the more we turn up this knob, so this knob is all the way up right now, the more that this is gonna scroll in, right? It's gonna have less highs and more lows. Now, with my 808s, I don't ever cut out all of the highs, because some of the highs is what gives your 808 tone. It's what gives it its sound. So I usually go from the center, and I usually turn it back a little bit. Right, and that's all I do. I make sure I filter it through filter 1, and turn on the out, and I make sure I have it on the low pass so I don't get too much high frequencies. The next thing that Citrus has is these knobs right here. Now I don't know exactly what these letters mean, but they give different tones. So you'll see when I use this knob, it sounds, so this is what it sounds like originally. So if I turn the knob up, it gives it a little bit more, it gives it a different type of sound. I mess around with these knobs to try to get the 808 that I want. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll come back to you guys and show you what I do to export it before, so I can export it and save it into my drum kit. Now that I have what I want my 808 to sound like, what I want my wave to be, I'm going to put my Citrus on the first track. I'm going to take out I'm sorry for the sirens in the background, but I'm going to take out an Edison. I'm going to put my Edison on record. Now my Edison is going to record, and you want to make sure that you play your 808 on C5, because if you don't, your 808 would be out of tune. So now I'm just going to press my 808 and I'm going to let it ride out all the way till it makes no more noise, and then I'll let go. Right, like that. So now we have our 808 sample. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your snap is on snap to zero crossing. That'll make sure that it's either at the peak or at the valley of a wave. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So right here is where the 808 begins, and we want to take out all of this extra space that I left. So we're going to bring this back. We're going to zoom in, and you'll see that the red will snap right here on the valley. Right there, you see? Now I'm going to press delete, and there we have the start of the 808 perfect. Now you want to do the same thing to the end. I'm going to take all of this at the end. Let me extend this out, and I'm going to get as close right here, right? I don't want to go too close because I don't want to cut out any of the 808. So now you'll see there's little tiny valleys and stuff. So I'm going to try to get it to get right here. Right there, right? So now I'm going to press delete again. And there we go. We have our 808 sample. And now we're going to use the drag copy sample selection. And we're going to drag it right here onto the arrangement. We're going to make sure it's at the start. And that's all you do. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. I did forget one thing. When you go into Edison, you want to normalize the sound. So, like I said, after you press normalize, remember to press normalize. You want to use the drag feature to drag it straight onto the arrangement. You want to make sure it's all the way to the back. Make sure it's playing correctly. Alright, now we're going to file, export as a WAV file. Only WAV files can be brought into FL Studios again. So now I'm going to export this, and I'll be back whenever I exported it, and I'll show you how to bring your 808 into FL Studios. Okay, so I'm back. So before I have opened up a new FL Studio session. Now you can see that my drum kits is open, my 808s is here, and the 808 that I just made I named it John Boy, as you can see. So for new FL Studio users, if you don't know how to bring in files, if you don't know how to bring in your drums, first you need to make a file on your desktop and name it whatever you want it. I just named mine drum kits, and I named mine. I put a folder inside of that for each drum that I use. And when you do that, you open up your FL, you go to files, and you click on add folder. Now mine is already in here, but you'd go to this PC, and mine is called, and I just chose this one. So now I clicked it, I pressed OK, and then it will come in here. So you go to drum kits and you bring it into the channel rack just like you would anything else. Open a new channel. Now One thing that I have not yet figured out how to undo is this loop points, but it really doesn't matter. All you do is go in here, you click, you unclick use loop points, because if you do, every time you play the note, it will just repeat, 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 repeat with no end. Then you want to go into the settings and you want to cut self. So now you have your 808 and you can play it on your keyboard. So with that being said, thank you for tuning into this video. I appreciate you guys coming and rocking with your boy and watching his videos. If you have not already subscribed, feel free to do so. I would love to have you. Make sure you leave a like on the video, you comment with topics that you'd want me to go over, or questions that you have, and I'll try to get back to you guys. Thank you. It's D Gizzle, the Beat Maker, and I'll see you guys next time.